We learned in 1925 that Jesus was not born on the 25th of December. So this verse teaches us when Jesus was born, which is around end of September, when the dates of the palm trees will come down in the Middle East. And in verse 43:61, we learn that Jesus will be a marker for knowing the hour. Between both verses, there is 25 chapters, surahs. Between these two verses, there is 7 numbers inclusive. Between these two numbers, 43:61, there is 19 numbers inclusive. So you start with this one. Same thing here, you start with this one. So the key verse here, 43:61, that Jesus will be a marker. In Arabic, a marker for end of the world. There is no the exact phrase end of the world does not appear in the Quran. As we studied, there are 25 phrases in the entire Quran for end of the world. None of them will say end of the world in Arabic. Some of them will say Al-Saa'a, another will say Al-Qiyamah, Yawm Al-Qiyamah, Al-Ba'ath, and so on. Now, when Quran refers to or connects Jesus and the 7 sleepers to end of the world, it always uses the phrase Saa'a, As-Saa'a, the hour. So let's place the hour, As-Saa'a, in a table. Let's put all the words As-Saa'a in the Quran in a table. This is the number of occurrences. This is the sequence of the surah numbers, the sequence of the verse numbers. That's the surah number. That's the verse number where the hour occurs, As-Saa'a. And this is the reversed verse sequence, because it's a countdown from Adam to Jesus. It's a countdown. Remember, we said Adam is the first human being, and that's why Jesus is being used as a marker for end of the humanity, because God equates them as in similar fashion, their creation. And that is the reversed surah sequence. So as you notice, some of the surahs are missing because we are not counting the duplicated surahs. If we scroll down, we will notice that we have in total 40 occurrences for the hour. Most verses have the hour As-Saa'a mentioned only once, apart from 4 verses. They mention them twice. Verse 25:11, verse 33:63, verse 45:32, and verse 54:46. From 1980, when the hour was revealed to Rashad, the first time the hour was revealed, from 1980 to 2020, this year when it was revealed, or re-revealed a second time, there is 40 years. So we're looking for the second time, because this is the second revelation. Look for all the verses with the hour twice, and we add all the verses, the surah and the verse numbers of those marked in red, because those are the ones that have the hour mentioned twice, and we get 309, which is the number of years the seven sleepers stayed in their cave. So as we see, the hour is connected to Jesus and the seven sleepers. I have highlighted in yellow the section where the 7th and the 19th occurrence for the verses occur. The sequence of verses in orange, in normal sequence, and the reversed sequence. They're highlighted in orange, and the sequence of surahs for the 7th and the 19th are highlighted in purple. And we notice something very interesting. I have divided the table in half after the 19th mention of the hour, and then we end up with 4 verses on this side, on this group. I called it underlined group because they have a similar theme. They talk about time. We are given time before the hour. And if we go to the next group, the last 21 mentions, we have this group, 4 verses as well. And all these verses are talk about the knowledge about the hour. You see this? This is the 19th occurrence. This is where Jesus is being used as a marker for knowing the hour. And all those other verses, they are the only 4 verses in the Quran where you find the phrase Al-Saa'a, knowledge about the hour. Rashad translated it marker for knowing the end of the world. But in the Arabic, it's Al-Saa'a, knowledge about the hour. And this is the same phrase. This is the only place in the Quran you will find knowledge about the hour. This is the theme. Because the hour is the 25th. It's the 25th hour, remember? And between these, if you go forward 7 times from 19, you will arrive at 25. And 21, we said, is the new 25, because previously the people used to have in the older calendar, the equinoxes and the solstices used to be around the 25th, but after the updated calendar from the Julian calendar to today's calendar, it's around the 21st, the solstices and the equinox, when the equinoxes takes place. That's why we throw 21 pebbles at the obelisk, because they worship the sunlight. So we have 19 here and we have 21 here. This might symbolize that over it is 19. 21 symbolizes fire or light, or the light or the sun. That's why hell over it will be 19, and it will be created on the 25th hour. It will have 7 gates, and over it will be 19. Now if we read the surahs, the verses, sorry, we start with the first one for the first group, which has the time as the theme. We read 1677, first verse. What does it say? To God belongs the future of the heavens and the earth. As far as he is concerned, the end of the world, the hour in Arabic, Al-Saa'a, is a blink of an eye. See? It's like a blink of an eye. It's time. The theme is time. Or even closer, God is omnipotent. Let's read the second verse in the same group, 18:21. We cause them to be discovered. This is about the seven sleepers, so it's always also connected to time. Because they proved that whether you sleep, no matter how long time you sleep, it will feel like one day. Okay? We cause them to be discovered to let everyone know that God's promise is true and to remove all doubt concerning the end of the world. The people then disputed among themselves regarding them. Some said, "Let us build a building around them. Let their Lord is best knower about them." Those who prevailed said, "We will build a place of worship around them." And it's interesting that Appendix 25 talks about end of the world. And they were discovered. God says that they were discovered in verse 21, and in verse 25, God mentions the 300 and plus 9 years. And we know that 21 is the new 25 for the solar people that worship the solstices and the equinoxes. Let's read the third verse. Remember, we said there are 4 verses per group. So we've read 1677, we've read 1821, now we're reading 1975. Say, those who choose to go astray, the most gracious will lead them on until they see what is promised for them. It's also talking about the time, either the retribution or the hour. That is when they find out who is really worse off and weaker in power. It's interesting that in this verse, God says, those who choose to go astray, the most gracious will lead them on. How can someone who's gracious lead someone on? Because the person is choosing to go astray. This is why God used most gracious, because God is not the one putting people, leading people astray. They choose to do so. Teaches us about the importance of honesty. Now we go to the fourth verse, 30:55. Is it talking about time? On the day when the hour comes to pass, the guilty will swear that they lasted in this world only 1 hour. That is how wrong they were. It's very interesting here. So it's talking about hour, and it's mentioning hour in small h. So in Arabic you can see Al-Saa'a, the hour with capital H, compared with Saa'a or Sa'atin, 1 hour. In Arabic, the only difference is basically you have the alif and lam in the beginning. That's how you know if it's a phrase or a name for end of the world. Remember, you have alif and the lam. Here you don't have, it's just a word, sa'a. No, it's an hour. So this first group, where we have the barrier, talks about time that the human being is given. And it's interesting that where the barrier is, you have the 19th mention, whether it is normal sequence or the reverse sequence for the verses. Okay, so at the 19th position, we have the barrier. So at this end here, we have then 21, the rest of the 21 mentions of the hour. Now let's read these 4 verses, this and this and this and this. We start with 31:34. What does it say? Do you remember we said the theme here is knowledge about the hour? With God is the knowledge regarding the hour, end of the world. He is the one who sends down the rain, and he knows the contents of the womb. No soul knows what will happen to it tomorrow, and no one knows in which land he or she will die. God is omniscient, cognizant. You can read this if you want. But here, the highlight here is علم الساعة, knowledge regarding the hour or knowledge about the hour. This phrase, remember we said it appears in 4361, and there is only 4 verses in the Quran. This is one of them. So it's very clear. Let's go to the next verse, 41, 47. It's very clear that God has used the phrase Al-Saa'a in connection to Jesus and the 7 sleepers to reveal, to create this miracle, this table. The same thing here, 41, 47. With him is the knowledge about the hour. In Arabic, إليه يرد علم الساعة. You see that again? علم الساعة. الساعة. علم الساعة. 2 words. Knowledge, the hour. Knowledge, the hour. In English, it would be knowledge about the hour. With him is the knowledge about the hour, end of the world. No fruits emerge from their sheaths, nor does any female conceive or give birth without his knowledge. The day will come when he asks them, "Where are those idols that you set up beside me?" They will say, "We proclaim to you that none of us bears witness to that." Let's go to the next verse, which, as we know, the 19th location is the 4361. This, you have the same علم الساعة, or لعلم للساعة, knowledge for the hour. Well, as I said, Rashad translated it as he is to serve as he, about Jesus. Previous verses talk about Jesus. He is to serve as a marker for knowing the end of the world. Okay, in Arabic, the exact phrase is وَإِنَّهُ لَعِلْمٌ لِلسَّاعَةِ فَلَا تَمْتَرُونَ بِهَا وَاتَّبِعُونِ هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ. So God is saying, he, Jesus, لعلم للساعة, knowledge about the hour, فلا تمترون, so you do not doubt about it, بها, واتبعوني, and follow me. God is saying to follow him. This is the right path. I'm not saying this myself. God is saying this is the right path. And we go to the last verse for the 7. So we have 19, 19, 7, 7. We go to the last one is 43, 85. I did not write the 43 here because it would be duplicated in the table. But 43, 85, it would be duplicated. So this number of the sequence for the surah numbers will be wrong. So we don't include it. But anyway, we're gonna read 43, 85. So it's the same surah. Most exalted is the one who possesses all sovereignty of the heavens and the earth and everything between them. With him is the knowledge about the hour, end of the world, and to him you will be returned. علم الساعة, again, you see that? علم الساعة. So these are the only 4 verses in the entire Quran that have the phrase علم الساعة, knowledge about the hour. And if you add the number of the surah and verse numbers for them, 31 plus 34 plus 41 plus 47 plus 43 plus 61 plus 85. You don't need to add this number because it will be duplicated. So you add these numbers and you get a multiple. You get 19 times 18. Okay?